IVM.
News Kids on the Block. We bring to you stories that top the nation's papers, fresh from the IVM and Ascend International School Desk. Hi, I'm Kavya.
I'm Anya.
And I'm Trivik.
And welcome to this episode of News Kids on the Block, where we give you all the top news updates of the week.
This week, we will be starting off with a story by Kavya Dearest, and I believe it is about the environment and coffee, potentially.
Yeah, thanks for that amazing introduction, Anya. So yes, it is about one of the most popular companies across the world, Starbucks. And I think at one point everyone has had a Starbucks phase, but I'm proud to say that I have not. It's not about the coffee today. Something more important and something that I think is a really, really big move, because these big companies are the ones that kind of influence other companies to make the same changes and to go in that direction. So I think it's really important what Starbucks is doing. So basically what they are doing is they are replacing their iconic white paper cups with reusable ones. And I think in many ways it's quite a bold move, because many of the customers that do come to Starbucks not only come for the coffee, but they come for the whole ambiance of it, and they come for the every small part of it, including the cups. And these, I know they change when the holidays come around and when the festivals change. So I think obviously it is a big risk, but at the same time it definitely is one that is going to pay off. Starbucks said that the paper cups will not be entirely taken off the shelf, but they will be made less attractive so that people aren't as incentivized to use them. On the company's website, Michael Kobori, the chief sustainability officer of Starbucks, officially said that bringing the trend of using reusable cups is their aim of becoming a resource-positive company, and they're trying to eliminate waste and cut half their carbon, water, and waste footprints. And I think, like I said, this is super important, especially for these bigger companies to do, because it kind of causes a domino reaction with smaller companies who look up to and really look to these bigger companies for ideas. So I think a great action on the part of Starbucks, and I really hope that we see this happening with more companies around the world.
With that, we will move into our next story for the day, where we will be covering a debate which has taken social media and TikTok more specifically by storm, as we discuss the wheels versus doors debate. So recently, there's been a debate which has been all over the internet talking about whether there are more wheels or more doors present in the world. And this started as just a friendly debate between friends, but it has reached the world. It has gained international popularity. And what I want to know is, what is Anya's take on this? Anya, do you think there are more wheels or more doors in the world?
This is a very interesting question that has been posed in front of us, Trivik. I don't think I have an answer.
Okay, well, I'm going to go for wheels. I think for every person, there's 4 wheels. We've got wheels on the bottoms of barrels, on cars, on trains, on everything has got wheels. And I know there are a considerable amount of doors in the world, but I'm sticking with wheels because every single thing will need multiple wheels in comparison to the doors.
I think I would have to agree with you, Trivik. I also think there probably are more wheels. But if you think about it, not everyone has access to wheels, whereas almost everyone has access to something with a door. But I think wheels are more commonly found in more objects, and doors are mostly only on houses. And but wait, a car also has doors. A vehicle also has doors.
This is like the chicken and the egg, but for TikTokers.
I think I'm gonna have to go for doors, actually.
I mean, what do we define as a door? Because not gonna lie, there are a lot of houses in the world that don't have a door.
I'm gonna have to go for doors, because if you think about it, the cars also have doors.
But what constitutes as a door? How do you define a door?
A door is a door. I don't know how to define a door. A door is a door.
No, there are so many houses where people in poverty are living in, they don't have doors. They have curtains and stuff, which are makeshift doors. Do those count as doors too?
No.
Then why are we discriminating against people for not having doors?
I'm not discriminating. I just think there are more doors in the world than there are wheels.
This is like the chicken and the egg for millennials, honestly.
Yeah, probably.
Well, when the debate actually started, it got over 22,000 votes and more than 2,000 comments from people who felt strongly about the subject. And with that, we'll give you a minute to think about it and what is your take on this debate. And we'll do that by giving you a short break.
You're the people pleaser, right? Or then desperately seeking the one? Or wait, you're the one who doesn't think they're ever good enough. So much drama. And for what? Is it doing you any good? Listen to me. I'm Chetna, your favorite positive action coach. Yes, I'm the one who has been dropping all those truth bombs on every episode. Oh no. And it's time you learn to say no to drama. That's also what my podcast is called. And a new episode is out every Monday and Wednesday on the IVM Podcast app, website, as well as all major podcasting platforms.
Welcome back to News Kids on the Vlog, where we bring you all the top news stories of the week. I'm your co-host Anya, and our next story for you today is Maggi, coffee, and tea are supposed to cost more as Nestle and Hindustan Unilever announced price hikes for specific packets. So for start, there's basically been a surge in prices of a lot of consumer goods, and one of our I think like everybody's comfort food, Maggi. So basically Nestle is increasing the price of Maggi noodles by 9 to 16%. Like the 70-gram wala Maggi packet used to be 12 rupees and now it will be 14 rupees. And the 140-gram packet has been hiked by 3 rupees, which is about 12.5%. And the 560-gram pack will be more expensive by 9.4%, basically being sold at 105 rupees as opposed to earlier when it was sold at 96 rupees. Alongside with this, Financial Express talked about how the Nestle A Plus 1 liter milk carton will be costing 4% more than it currently does, meaning that it will be 78 rupees as compared to its current price of 75 rupees. Also, the classic coffee powder, Trivik, the kind that we were making 8 years ago before the world discovered Dalgona coffee.
Whoa.
Exactly. That's price is increasing by 2 rupees. So basically just some very interesting news. Yeah, there was a post on Instagram by the Indian Idiot, which basically the caption was, college students to face mehengai, Maggi, chai and coffee ki price gai badhai. And I thought that was really cool because funny, not cool. Because 12 rupees, 14 rupees, it's a difference. And I feel like in my head, Maggi still costed 10 rupees, but apparently it's 12 rupees and now it's 14 rupees. So I thought this was a really interesting story.
I think honestly though, it's a really smart business decision because things like Maggi, milk, and coffee are basically staples for people, and no matter how.
I think the fact that you're categorizing Maggi with milk and coffee is
that just makes you a terrible person.
I think
Kavya, you're just like a disgrace at this point.
I think Maggi is a million times more staple for me than milk or coffee will ever be. I don't really drink coffee at all, and milk is forced. Say I drink.
But what, across India, to say Maggi is at the same level as milk and coffee is a
yeah,
big,
it actually
big
is. If you ask
statement,
anybody,
Kavya.
they'll say that.
Maggi is at the same level as chapati at this point.
More important in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, good on Nestle for capitalizing on our love for Maggi.
Yeah.
Okay, Trivik, let's move into the next story. Do you want to take over?
Anyways, we will move into my story, and this is Miss Marvel. So what's interesting about this story is that she is actually the MCU's first Muslim superhero, and they've also altered her powers. So Marvel Studios have finally dropped the trailer for Miss Marvel, and there seem to have been some considerable changes to her origin stories and her power sets. So Kamala, who is Miss Marvel, is a Muslim Pakistani American teenager who loves and writes fan fiction about Captain Marvel, who is already in the MCU. And she's also the first Muslim character to headline their own series. And the Ms. Marvel trailer also shows that the series has touched upon Kamala's Muslim identity. So I'm sure you'll see the trailer link in the description of the video of this episode. But I think they have altered her powers a bit because the original Ms. Marvel in the comics had stretchy powers where she could extend her limbs and extend her body. But now she's got some cosmic galactic powers sort of based on similar to the Green Lantern of DC actually. So I think it's going to be an interesting watch, and I would definitely keep my eye on it in the coming weeks, June 8th to be.
You're going to need a bit of a break to gain your sense of interest back. With that, we'll take a short break and we'll be right back on News Kids on the Block.
Hey everybody, it's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. On an episode of Cock and Bull, Cyrus talks to Kajol Srinivasan and Sriram Padmanabhan about parking issues at Azad Maidan and sexism in stand-up comedy. Do check out the poem Samvad on Hansvani. The poem looks at the power of words and pathos born in the absence of them. On IVM Likes, Antriksh and Zalak talk to fellow IVM staffers about some crazy house parties and office parties they've attended, and draw parallels between house parties in movies versus those in real life. On Pulyabazi, the hosts help us understand how India's public finance works. Join Abhinav on Probation Se Promotion Tak as he tells you how being multilingual in today's globally connected world could be one of the biggest career skills a person could have. Do follow us on social media. We're IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And remember, if you enjoyed this show or any of our shows for that matter, please do tell a friend. Word of mouth really does help us. And also, please, a rating if you could. That is also extremely helpful to us. And remember, we're also on YouTube. You can check out ivmpodcast.com/YouTube to get a list of the different channels that we operate on YouTube. And finally, we'd like to thank our sponsors this week, SBI Life Insurance, Bank of Baroda, India Water Portal, and Max Life Insurance. Thank you so much for making this possible.
Welcome back to News Kids on the Block. I'm your co-host Trivik Hariharan, and our next story is coming to you from our beloved Kavya Hebbar.
Thanks, Trivik. The next story I have for you is equally fascinating and terrifying at the same time. It is about a company known as Kernel, which has created a helmet that is valued at $50,000 US, and it basically can read your mind in simple terms. It weighs a couple of pounds each. These helmets weigh a couple of pounds each, and they basically contain several sensors and electronic elements that can analyze your brain's electrical impulses and the flow of blood in your brain, and basically provide a window into how the brain responds to different things that take place in your life. The basic technology for this has been around for many years, but it's usually found in like the size of a room, and they can cost millions of dollars. So I think the fact that a technology has been created that can fit on your head and you can walk around and wear it, is portable while being able to read your mind basically, is really extremely cool. But at the same time, it's scary because we're living in a world today where technology is becoming so advanced that you don't really have anything like privacy anymore. You don't have any sort of security when it comes to having privacy. And your brain and your mind has always been that one place where no one can read it or no one can judge you for what you think. So the fact that now that may be also being threatened is definitely concerning. But at the same time, it's really, really cool. Okay, I will pass it on to Anya for our last story for the day.
Thanks, Kavya. Our last story for the day today is, as you may or may not have read about the hijab ban in Karnataka. On the 15th of March 2022, the Karnataka High Court dismissed the petitions against the hijab ban and they upheld their law. What this basically means is that for months now, they upheld the hijab ban. For months now, so since February, the Karnataka government there was a lot of controversy that broke out when a group of girls was trying to enter the college wearing a hijab, and the Karnataka government had released an order which banned wearing clothes with the clothes that specifically disturb equality, integrity, and public order. And the Karnataka High Court said that yes, this is true because the hijab is not essential to religious practice. Petition to the court was filed by 6 Udupi Muslim girls. They have now moved their petition to the Supreme Court and they've challenged this decision, and the Supreme Court will take it up after Holi. But the poster of a student from one of the colleges about 90 kilometers from the Udupi district said that we will continue the fight, #hijab is my right. And another placard held by a student in Thumbe town in Dakshina Kannada read that hijab ban is unconstitutional, hence unacceptable. There have been a lot of protests in some of the other courts where we want education and a hijab, that is all. We have exams on March 24th, but they, as in the schools, are not taking classes at all. We don't know what to write for these exams. It's not that we don't want to go, we will go, but we need the hijab. Essentially, to put it like education is something that obviously these women are prioritizing, but at the same time, they do have a right and they do have autonomy over their body to wear what they want. And they've just said that this is not essential to an Islamic religious practice. So the court has now basically, since they've dismissed the petitions filed, they will be looking at 3 key questions according to livelaw.in. 1, whether wearing hijab is essential religious practice in Islamic faith protected under Article 25. 2, whether the prescription of a school uniform is violative of rights. And 3, whether the GO of February 5th, apart from being the government order from February 5th, apart from being incompetent and manifestly arbitrary, violates sections 14 and 15. So now we can only hope that the Supreme Court is able to do right by our country and our law, and of course by these students.
Thank you guys. That is all we have for you today. We hope you enjoyed this week's episode of News Kids on the Block. Don't forget to tune in to us every Friday for our fresh take on the news from across the globe.
If you like this podcast, don't forget to check out other podcasts on the IVM network.
You can listen to us on the IVM Podcast app or ivmpodcast.com. You can also follow us on our social media. We are at IVM Podcasts on Twitter and Instagram.
We'll see you next week. But till then, do share this episode with your folks. Stay safe. And don't forget to do your homework.
What is the workplace and how does your gender and body affect your right at work? Hey, I'm Priya Mirza, and on the Longest Constitution podcast, we critically examine the vision of the Indian Constitution and laws. In season 1, we looked at sex, gender, sexuality in India, and the landmark judgments which transformed our rights as citizens in this country. In season 2, we discussed the laws which shape the workplace and examine how ability, competence, and merit impact us, and much more. Join me, Priya Mirza, every Wednesday only on the IVM Podcast app, website, and all the major podcast streaming platforms.
सफर, रास्ते, मंजिल और मुकाम अक्सर ये हमसे कुछ कहना चाहते हैं, पर हम हैं कि अपनी रोजमर्रा की जिंदगी में इन्हें सुनने से कतराते हैं। नमस्ते दोस्तों, मेरा नाम है केशव चतुर्वेदी और मैं आपको ले चलूंगा कुछ ऐसे सफर पर जहां आपको एक नया नजरिया मिलेगा सफर और मंजिलों को देखने का। आइए इन किस्से कहानियों में डूब जाएं। हर मंगलवार और शुक्रवार